Hello, world. So today I'm chatting with Kells Barnett of Harlem Haberdashery, NYC. Say hi to the world, Kells.
What's going on? What's going on, world? How you doing?
So it's good to see you.
Yes,
And
you also. Happy New Year.
thank you. Yes, 2021. Here we are.
Correct.
Yes. And we've got so much to talk about. So let's get right into it. Let's tell the world a bit about who you are.
Okay.
You can share your journey to becoming a businessman and a stylist.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I am Kells Barnett, owner of Harlem Haberdashery, designer of 5001 Flavors. We just launched a water brand, Marvelous Waters.
Oh,
We
cool.
have a spirit brand, HH Bespoke Spirits. So now we're going into lifestyle products, and lifestyle products is an array of things. Hopefully, to get into furniture one day, and home goods, and fabrics, and just different stuff. And we're celebrating our ninth year, Harlem Haberdashery, and we'll be celebrating our 30th year pretty soon with 5001 Flavors. So I've literally
Wow.
been in fashion my entire life. In the beginning, it was like reluctantly because it was the family business, but now it's like just a part of me, and we're all in it, and we all have our own brands separate from Harlem Haberdashery and 5001 Flavors. But yeah, it's a family brand, and we're trying to do family things and just keep growing.
That's awesome. You have other people who are building with you, or you're building with them, right? If it's
Right.
30 years
So
old.
yeah, so it is a true family business. My sister, my brother, my nephew is now in it. My little cousin is now in it. So we're truly family, blood, and it's a family business. What I mean by that is that we're all family, but we all do work hard. So it's not like nobody is handed anything. There is no like nepotism. It's like truly hard work, and we all, put in our blood, sweat, and tears to the brands with an S.
To the
We have a
brand.
lot of
Yeah.
brands. Yes, we have a lot of brands.
And which one is your personal brand?
Well, my personal brand is Dead Couture, and I also have my own clothing store called the Gold Standard in upstate Poughkeepsie, New York.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, and it's going really well despite the pandemic,
Yeah.
despite the quarantine. It's going really well. Retail, period, and small business is doing really well. If you're e-commerce and
Mm,
um if you're set up in a way where social media works for you, you're gonna small businesses are doing really well. Unfortunately, not everyone can say that because it's just so tough, but for the most part, a lot of like clothing, small business and retail is doing really well in a pandemic. It's interesting. I can't wait to see like think pieces and studies about why that is, but a lot of small businesses are really doing well right now.
yeah. I think it's because, I mean, personally for me, having a little extra time, I'm saving time on commuting, right?
Correct.
Like the time, I mean, I don't know, like you said, it would be interesting to study, but saving time and all of those like transportation issues has given me more time to create and figure out how to change things up and
Yep.
expand.
And I think what happens with a lot of those big brands is their overhead is so large that they're truly like check to check. Even though they're
Mhm.
big brand, they need to be open like to make money to pay all of that overhead. What small businesses is you and sometimes one other person, so the overhead is a little bit smaller, and people I think are starting to notice that you need for your community to work, you got to support local business.
Yeah.
So it's been going really well for some not just clothing. I know some guys who will have restaurants that are doing really well despite everything that's going on. I
Yeah.
know people that opened up restaurants
Yeah,
during.
I've been seeing it too. It's exciting. And then like I see the ones that are closing.
Yeah, but see, they're closing because they had a lot of overhead. Because the longer you're open, the more creditors you have and bills and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And it sucks that those we didn't get relief the way we needed it to. Like rent
Yeah.
just needed to be stopped for small businesses. Like it
Right.
truly should have been.
Yes. So actually, this kind of brings me to our next question in an indirect way because people are showing love to small businesses, right? Like
Correct.
especially during the pandemic, especially even Black and women-owned businesses. I feel like
Yes.
they're getting a
Yep.
lot of
Yep.
extra love, and it's like finally people are recognizing how important they are to the community.
Correct. Yep.
And it's really cool to watch. But let's just like break it down even a little bit simpler to a broader term of love. Um, what is that? How do you define that?
Wow.
And do
How do
you
you define love?
like, everyone maybe has their own definition. How do you define it? And do you think there's a difference between love and self-love, or how would you define any of the nuances?
Well, what's interesting about love is that for the most part, even friendship and intimate relationships, people usually love you with conditions. But I truly believe that
Mm,
love is unconditional. Like if I say I love you, it's through the good, the bad, the indifferent, the disagreements. Unfortunately, we live in a conditional love world where people define love by what have you done for me lately, or when was the last time, or are you making me happy? And
mm,
true love isn't the definition of my making you happy, because like you said, self-love, if I'm unhappy, I can't really make you happy.
right.
And I think that's something that we're like the last 5-10 years, and I think social media has a big part to play in this, about what self-love is and what self-acknowledgement is and accountability and stuff like that.
Mm,
Because before, a lot of us didn't know that we had no self-love. Like a lot of people
yeah.
truly didn't believe that they didn't have self-love. And I think what self-love is, I think it's inner peace. Um, a lot of people are not at peace with themselves, and sometimes you can tell by the way they joke about themselves, or the way that they may not be able to take a compliment. Like you ever meet someone and they truly can't take a compliment? That's
Yeah.
because they're struggling with some things. Insecurity plays a part in that. And what I've learned is insecurity comes from bad relationships,
Yeah.
and personal and intimate, but mostly intimate. Because if someone says, hey, I love you, baby, and then they mentally drain you of your self-love or your self-security, then
Yeah.
you become insecure, and that's very hard. And once you've been like mentally played with like that, it's very hard to love yourself. So the problem with love being conditional is that it's not realistic to the real world, because
Mm,
some days I can give you all I got, some days I can't.
right.
And I think true love and like friendship is, your friends know when you're down. Your
Right.
friends know when you need a break. Your friends know when you need space. Your friends know when you say you need space, but you really don't. And that's what true love is. And I always say it to my group of friends that I think soulmates and friendship is just as important as soulmates in an intimate relationship.
Mm,
Friendships, we never look at friendships as a part of being love, but it really is.
yeah. Yeah.
Friendships are very important. Friendships are very important
Yeah.
to
I
love.
think I think if they weren't, then in an abusive situation, like usually if someone gets into an abusive relationship, right? Um, a lot of times, not always, but a lot of times that abuser tries to isolate that person
Yep. Yep.
from their friends.
Yep.
So that abuser recognizes that importance of that love relationship that you have with your friends, even
Yep.
though you may not get it.
Because usually it's the
Yeah.
friend who drag you out of an abusive relationship. Sometimes it takes a while, sometimes it doesn't happen, but usually it's the friends who, like you said, that the abuser needs to isolate you from your core, from
Yeah.
your support group. And that's crazy. I never thought about it like that. But yeah, they try to isolate. I mean, they isolate you by manipulation. Like, I'm
Yeah.
the only one who cares about you and this, and you're not going out, and that's just unfortunate. And
Yeah.
that takes a lifetime to heal from.
It does. It's a self it's like a sometimes a whole lifetime journey, even from the beginning,
Yeah.
because we don't come out of the womb insecure, right?
Correct.
Like day
Right.
one here on planet Earth, you're not worried about anything. But maybe even like things that come out in your childhood
Yeah.
then make it easier for someone to come in and you
Correct. But isn't it crazy what life does to you? Like we all start our life so
know.
innocent and pure, and life just dirties you up, man. Like and
Yeah,
that's the importance. And we joke about this all the time in my friend group. Is that's why you got to keep friends around you. You got to keep people around
yeah,
you, that keep you happy and smiling. Laughter is the true medicine of life. Like I truly do believe that. And unfortunately, some people don't have good people around them.
yeah, yeah, it's true. And then that, well, there's those phrases like iron sharpens iron, and
Yes, I love that phrase.
this, I know that's one of my favorites, right? And then there's the you're the sum of like the three people around you or the five people around you.
Yeah.
Five people. I can never remember the number.
You
Like,
see, but you know, I have an interesting thoughts about that because where I'm from, we call it product of your environment, and
yeah,
statistically, um if we were going by statistics and you or your five friends, I was supposed to be something that I'm not right now. Like, you know, I wasn't around some of the greatest people. So I do believe that to a degree, but I also think in that context, you do get to pick who you're around. I
yes,
mean, I get to pick what block or what neighborhood I'm from, but you do grow up and get to pick your friends. So
yeah,
it's always nice to see a kid from a certain type of neighborhood to blossom and then get into his own things and then have his own group of friends. I'm a real advocate for multiple different groups of friends
yeah,
because you like we're multifaceted people, right? Like some of your friends may not like going to museums. You may have a museum group of friends. You may have a
yeah,
restaurant group of friends.
yes,
And I do think that's healthy. But society teaches you that that's not healthy, like to have all these friends. No, you need different types. Now, it's nice when you have one group of friends that's just into everything you're into. But how likely is that for to meet 5, 10 people that into everything you like exactly? But it is nice when you have friends that are willing to try stuff that you like.
yeah,
But I do think it's healthy to have, you know, just different sets of group of friends. And it's nice when those friends can come together for an event, for, you know, for anything, a celebration about you. Like, but friendships are, to me, are very important, are truly one of the most important things of life in regards to love.
yeah. I agree. I definitely agree. And I think when you mention soulmates and friendships, a soulmate is someone who's going to help bring out the best in you, right? And
Right.
cultivate you and even challenge you, right? A friendship might not always be easy. I mean, in the sense that sometimes your friends can be like, "What are you doing?" But that keeps us from getting stagnant, right? And maybe that's another reason to have many different groups of friends,
Correct.
because you would get that challenge in different areas of your life.
And your friends change with every level up you do. Again, if you every time you level up or go into something new, if you have the same group of friends, cool. But a lot of people can't go. A lot of people are not gonna get to the finish line with you, and that's all right. Like I have some friends who are my childhood friends, and they were doing things that I didn't want to do. Are they still my friends? Yes, but I had to move on from that level of friendship. You know what I mean? Like, and there's nothing wrong. Neither one of us feel a way about it. You sometimes you just gotta move on from people,
Yeah,
and you may catch them back down the road, but you gotta move on sometimes when a
yeah,
person is holding you back.
yeah, because they could catch up. So here's a question for you about men and women. So, one of the reasons why I'm interviewing men is that I see on social media a lot of, women posting about self love. I don't see it as much from men, although maybe there's like men coded hashtags.
That you don't.
Maybe there's some kind of like, what is it, men are from Mars? Maybe there's some kind of like Martian like language you guys are putting in the captions. I don't
Correct.
know. But
Correct.
is there?
No, I just think men is becoming more of a normal thing now, but it isn't the same as women. But I also think that men don't men naturally don't look for validation of the internet on social media for their feelings. So it's not like like a lot of men have self-love, but we're not posting about it because it's like, what am I telling you for? If that makes sense.
Yeah, it
I'm
does.
not saying that women do that for that reason, but you know, it's just women just like to display their emotions and naturally, and men don't. You know what I'm saying? That's just the way society was made. But it is dope that now more and more men are supporting each other. You see
Mhm.
men on social media saying, "Hey, I love you, bro." Like that wasn't a thing years ago. You know what I'm saying? Like, I respect you, King. So King is one of those secret words. So when a man calls another man a king, that's like the highest level of respect. And
Yeah.
then also the way men show love towards each other is by jokes. As crazy
Mm.
as that sounds. So it's like when they're roasting you or telling you a joke, like that's how men show love. But we do have self-love and feel self-love and have self-love towards each other, or love towards like another friend. It's just we don't display it. I don't know why all men don't, but I just know that men naturally don't like to display their emotions, not when there is no need for it to be displayed.
Mm. Yeah. I mean, women, we do tend to talk more than men naturally.
Correct.
Yeah, we are a
Correct.
lot more, a little bit out there,
Correct.
our emotions and our words. So, is there something that men, so you talked a little about men to men, but like women to men, like how can women be part of building up a man's self-worth? Like
Oh
what
my
are the
God.
key things she can do, whether
Um,
it's like her guy friend or if it's, her partner?
what's interesting about that is that I have beautiful relationships with a lot of my female friends, and a lot of time that doesn't translate to like intimate relationships. I have no idea exactly why that is. I just think that once emotions get involved, then oh, I care for this person, it kind of blocks the person judgment. If we remember in intimate relationships that this person is my friend first and maybe my lover second, or put in priorities like that, I think we would get further. But as far as like intimate relationships, men and women, I don't think we connect because for whatever reason we don't look at each other as friends. Because
Yeah.
there are things like when people are arguing in a lover relationship, they say things to each other that friends would never say. So if I don't speak to my friend all day Monday and just hit my friend Tuesday, my friend is never gonna ask me, why didn't you hit me all day Monday? It's a reason why I didn't hit you Monday. In a relationship, that's you can't do that. But
Yeah.
if you remember that that person is your friend first and your lover second, or maybe they're parallels, you
Yeah.
wouldn't come in. I say come in hot, like you come in with an attitude. You got
Right.
to come in like you were coming with a friend. You wouldn't ask your friend that. I
Right.
don't. I
True.
never had no smoke or beef with my friend over not speaking to them in 2 hours. That's only in a relationship because your brain clouds the judgment of, oh, this person's my friend
Mhm.
first. That's why they would say it should is best to be friends first and then love is second. We
Yeah.
forget that. Yeah, we forget that. Because when somebody's your friend, you respect them a certain way.
Mm. Yeah, this is true. Like my best friend, I really admire her and her husband because they have like this friendship,
Yeah,
right?
you gotta
And
have
they
that
have like
friendship.
this teamwork. And like I watch them switch, responsibilities and different things on and off. And I'm like, yeah, that's what I want. But then you're right. And sometimes I think, in my case, I can speak for myself. I can't speak for other women. But like I might have a different expectation. So my expectation might be
Expectations, yes. Oh my God.
back. Yeah. Uh,
Expectations are our own worst enemy.
yeah. Yeah.
We create this whole thing in our head, and then when it don't happen, we're upset at the other person rather than our own expectations. Like it's crazy, and that's what starts the problems.
Yep. Yep. Instead of just looking at it as a friendship. I think that's wisdom, Kels.
It's
Thank you.
very it's very hard though. Sometimes when you're dealing with somebody, you got to remind yourself that it has to be a friendship first.
Yeah, because like a romantic friendship is really going to go deeper,
Yeah,
way deeper than, a friendship,
correct,
for different reasons.
correct.
But yeah. So what do you think, or is there a connection, rather, I should say? Um, is there a connection for you between self-love and fashion and beauty?
Wow. Wow. That's a good question. I never even thought about it that way. I do believe that it's funny. I haven't heard this word in years. Remember the word conceited? People used to say, like
Yes.
when like
Yeah.
when you're into to care self-care about yourself. I haven't heard that word in so long. But that was like that was a a popular word when I was younger.
Yeah.
But I don't think that it is conceited to have self-love. Like, if so, what I always tell people, if you look good, if you feel good and you look good, you're gonna be good to others. I
Hmm.
truly believe that fashion is very important in life. What's crazy about perspective is you meet somebody like don't care about fashion, and that's crazy to me. I care about looking good. I care about smelling good, because if I feel good about myself, I'm going to do good. And I'm not saying you can't do good and not look good. That's not what I'm saying. But
Right.
I do believe that self-care is in fashion are one. It's crazy. I never even thought about that. But you gotta care about yourself. You gotta care the way you look. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's funny when I'm like, as I'm raising my son, he has a very interesting take on self-care. Like, he won't put on lotion, but the way I raise my son is if I raise him by the phrase, if you like it, I love it, right?
Oh,
Because nobody taught me grooming and fashion and means of saying you gotta groom it. I figured that out on my own. So I figure if my son sees me do it, he's gonna pick up on it. He's only 12. He's a boy. He likes to be wrinkled and mismatched socks. And that could be a part of his own fashion
yeah,
journey.
for sure.
So but I do believe that when you feel good, you look good, and that is a part of self-care. I never thought about it that way. But grooming is, I enjoy grooming. Like, when if I had a hard day and I get home and I do my skin routine and
Yes.
shave and oil my hair, I'm like, I feel so good about myself.
Yeah.
It
I
really is self-care.
I agree. Like I have this hair oil that I put in my hair at night, right? And then I'm like massaging my scalp. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
so
Man,
nice.
how good
Yeah.
does it feel after a bad long day? You're like, oh my God, like it was all worth it. Sometimes you're like, it was all worth that day was worth it for this moment.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
simple things in life make us happy. But I never thought about fashion and self-care. But I do believe it is self-care. I enjoy looking good. It just makes me feel good. And what I have to say about that is what's crazy about fashion is, and everyone knows this to be true in life, whether they want to agree solely, like wholeheartedly or not. But when you see someone who looks good, it makes you feel good, right?
Right.
And that when you see someone who looks good and you approach them and then their energy is good, now you really feel
Mhm.
good.
Yeah.
So the when like let's if I'm dressed well, people care about what I say. And I always like the rope a dope. Like, I bring them in with the fashion, but then when you talk to me, you're gonna get community, you're gonna get entrepreneurship, you're gonna get ownership, you're gonna get all of that. You're gonna get something you didn't think you're gonna get just from you saying, "Oh, yo, your outfit is nice." I'm like, okay, and then I start talking to you about community stuff, right?
Yes.
But that's what it is. Like, people, when you dress well, people care about what you have to say. That's just the way life is, and I knew that from young. So especially if you have something good to say, oh, they're gonna listen. They're gonna listen, and they're
Yeah.
gonna remember you. You will
Yeah.
probably remember every time. You may not know somebody's name, but when you see somebody during the day and they dress well, you're like, wow, that lady had a really nice scarf on. You remember that lady.
Hmm.
You remember her. So yeah, that is self love in fashion, essentially.
I just thought of a question when you were talking just now. You said
Okay.
the word community. How do you think self-love and community go together?
So self love. Now that I know for a fact goes together. So
Yeah, I
some
think
people just need more education on self-love in regards to community. And a lot of the young kids that I speak to, I always break it down to them like this. um, we all grew up in the city with buildings, and we don't look at outside of our building as being our home. But I always ask the kids, I'd be like, if you had a house and you had a yard and
yeah.
you were drinking a juice, would you finish the juice and throw it in your yard? They're like, no, of course not. So now, in front of your building, you have a juice. You finish drinking the juice. You
Mm,
throw it down all the time because you don't connect that to being yours.
uh,
When we live in like buildings in like in metro areas or condensed areas, like I grew up in the projects and I grew up in tenement buildings and build. I didn't grow up in a house. I didn't get a house. I was an adult, but I always had this concept of ownership. So when you live in a building, you only think of your house as being behind your
Yeah.
door. You don't even think of your house being your hallway from the
Yeah.
elevator to your door. But realistically, it is, right? Like where I grew up, people used to piss in the elevators, but I'm like, what was crazy about that to me is I'm like, you were going or coming from somewhere, so why did you have to piss in the elevator? That's
Yeah.
almost like peeing in your house.
Yeah.
Now, there are some people who believe this where I'm from, like in a lot of the places where I grew up, and then some people don't. Some people, when I explain that to them, that concept just goes completely over their head because some people don't look at ownership outside of their house. So when I'm doing community stuff, they don't look at outside their house as their community. And
Mhm.
that's when communities get taken away from people, not just by outsiders. It's just mentally the community is just gone from you. We don't care about it. Like
Yeah.
if you open your door in your building and all of the hallway lights is out, if you don't do something to fix that, you don't have ownership of your home. Like you just want that's not right. So
Yeah.
that's what I do love about where I grew up. The building I grew up, we did have some sense of ownership. Like everybody took care of each other. We were able to ask each other stuff. But a lot of places are not like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, self-love in the community, it has to start with ownership. You have to feel like this is mine. It may be all of ours, but this is mine also. And
Yeah.
a lot of people don't think of community like that. And that's why some communities fall.
Yeah. It's so important that we teach that, like like everywhere,
Yeah.
schools, like religious institutions,
But
stores.
ownership is hard
It is.
because
Yeah.
is an intangible thing. People only look at ownership as something they can hold. Like I own this like I own this is my phone. I own this phone. If you can't hold it, you can't hold community. Like you can't touch it. So
Right.
some people don't look at it as theirs until it's taken away from them,
Yeah.
which is crazy. They only think about community when it's gone, when somebody comes and snatches it. But community is like air. I can't define it for you. If you don't get it, you're not gonna get it. It's I may be able to explain things and give you little darts and gems, but if you don't like this is mine, I can't help you.
Yeah, you're right though. I feel like I mean in New York, we have the five boroughs and I feel like each borough sort of has its personality and you can't
Correct.
really hold personality in your hand, but yet it is like something that's really real.
Correct.
Yeah, interesting. I feel like this is something I need to start talking to my students about more
Yeah,
often. Yeah, it's really
it's really important. But yeah, community is not tangible. That's why most people don't care about it.
yeah. So, one last question.
Okay.
It has to do with photography.
Okay.
So, we take pictures. Sometimes we just take them for fun for like social media posts and sometimes like you're a business owner. And so, I'm assuming, although I could be wrong because assuming is really usually a bad thing to do, but I'm assuming you've done some sort of photo promotion for products and your stores and
Yeah.
what are some of your tips that you would either give for preparing for a shoot or the day of or
Oh
even post production?
well. So about photos, I am a content psycho. I truly believe that pictures are one of the most important things in life. The reason why I say that, not in any like narcissistic way, I enjoy looking at old pictures. I enjoy looking at new pictures. I enjoy looking at pictures of architect, pictures of fashion, pictures of nature. What's dope about pictures is it literally freezes time. Like you ever see, like especially all of these cool Instagram accounts, like people take pictures of places that you probably won't ever go, and you're like,
Yeah.
wow, this is incredible. Like pictures are like frozen time capsules.
Mm,
And what I always jokingly tell people, like, yo, anytime you fly, take a picture. I don't ever anytime I'm dressed up nice, I'm gonna take a picture. And I try to tell that to my family. I try to tell that to my friends because you gonna be in 60 years. You're like, damn, old shoulder took a picture. You'll be sitting in your house. You're like, whatever happened to that blue jacket I had? I love taking pictures. I absolutely love it. So my tip to people is about pictures is, as you're taking a picture or you're preparing to take a picture, you gotta feel it. You gotta be in the moment. You can't be like,
Mhm.
this is stupid, I don't like this, because it all shows in the pictures.
Yes, the
It's
camera, like, picked
it
it up.
oh my god, it's
You
so crazy how
did
the camera picks up the emotions of the shooter or the person shooting. I've worked with some really bad photographers before, and I won't say the names, but
Uh-oh.
I can tell he had a bad day, and it showed in the pictures.
This is true.
I can tell when I had a bad day, it shows in the pictures.
Yeah.
So I know if I'm having a bad day, I can't do a photo. I know when I'm right because I want it to be right. The reason why I want it to be right, because if I'm having a bad day on that Sunday and these pictures are to be affecting something that happens Monday, Tuesday, all those other days, I
Mm,
have to be right.
yeah.
Because if I have a bad day Sunday and we post it on Friday and I'm having a good day, now it look like I have it. Now my the whole thing is messed up.
Yeah.
You gotta be right. Yeah, the energy has to be right. You got to feel good about what you're shooting, and you should be shooting something that you're interested in. It's always crazy when you meet photographers and they just look so miserable, and you're like, bro, like you don't want to be here.
Yeah,
You
I don't get
don't want
that
to be shooting
either.
this, because photography is one of them things, just like fashion, in a sense that once it becomes a job,
Mhm.
it's lost all of its sexy. It's a
Yeah,
no-go. Yeah,
yeah. It really needs love, like, on
it
both
really
ends of
is.
it. Like, it is a flop if, like,
It
you're
re-
like, as a photographer, I put so much energy out working
yeah.
with someone to try to get them to give the best.
And I'm always fascinated by photographers because you guys essentially have a new job each project. So it's like, let's say today you're shooting tigers, and then the next day you're shooting models. I
Yeah,
know photographers that go to those extremes.
yeah.
Like I'm in fashion. I don't want to shoot cars, but
Mhm.
photographers get excited for each project. They're like, "What are we shooting? Like shoelaces? Oh my!" I'm like, like I can't do that. Like, and that's why I've always been interested about photography, because I meet some photographers that come, and I have my own eye. I love it when I'm working with a photographer, and this is a huge tip for any upcoming photographers or
Mhm.
aspiring. Come with your own eye.
Mm,
I wanted the eye. I would just set up a tripod with a self timer. If I hire a photographer, I'm hiring you for your eye. I don't want to do
yeah,
lighting. I don't want to do poses. You got to tell, like, if you're the photographer, you got to tell people how to do everything. So that's why it's really dope when we work with photographers who be like, okay, you stand here, and know how to fill the frame,
mm,
opposed to where we got to do it and the photographer like yo sis, what are you doing, like. So it's always nice working with, that's why a lot of times we continuously work with the same photographers,
right,
because they know how we are, they know how we like to line up, how we like to shoot stuff, how we like to shoot up, shoot down.
right.
But it is nice when the photographer has his or her own eye. It's such a sigh of relief.
Yeah, I bet it is. Um, there's something I was gonna say, and now it escaped me. Oh, I was gonna say when you were talking about the emotions, right? Or you're having a bad day, and like one of the things that I tell people is don't shoot if you were sick. Like if you were sick all week,
Yes, you can see, yes,
it's gonna
especially if it was
show
like one of them
up like
tall
you've been
sickness.
healthy for one day, like your face, like your
Yeah,
cells, like
yes,
on a
yes.
cellular level, your
That
body
is
hasn't
true.
recovered.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but it's true, and I think all photographers, with to speak about what else you said, that we all have our own style, and
And I
yeah,
love that. I love it. But when y'all come, you gotta come. Like, don't be like, what are you? So what were you thinking? No, I'm not thinking anything. Like, and I'm one of them people, like, so I like working with photographers that shoot something and then they show up like, oh, well, let's do this. Then I'm more of a, with photographers, I can do collaboration, but I can't direct you because I don't know how you know how to shoot, if that makes sense.
it's us.
But
Yeah,
some photographers do shadow work really well. Some don't. I don't know what you do. So let's just go, and I'd rather you give me 20 shots and then I say, let's do this and this, rather than me trying to direct you. I don't know what
yeah,
that's it's so weird sometimes working with photographers that you got to direct. You like, I don't even know what the heck I'm talking about. Like,
yeah.
But
It's
it's beautiful when you work with a photographer that knows, like direct me. Like I'm very well, I'm coachable, I'm teachable, and I like learning from photographers. I love learning stuff from photographers. And not just photographers, I love learning from anybody who's doing anything in their field
yeah.
because I have a passion for other people's passion. I love to see people excited about things they're doing. I'm like, wow, that's dope. And I learned from an early age, you know that saying, like know-it-alls. So I learned from an early age that there's no such thing as a know-it-all. There's only people who, if they don't know something, they're gonna go find out. So
Yeah.
anything I don't, so I may seem like a know-it-all because I'm always going to find out what I don't know. And I have no problem asking questions. I get excited about other people's stuff, even if it's not something I'm interested in. I love to learn about other people's path. That's why I like photographers because it's so intricate. I'm like, how did you like my brain, the way I'm so obsessive, it would take me, it would be very difficult for me to be a photographer. I probably could, but I would need to know shutters and
Yeah.
lighting. I would need to know everything about it, even if I'm not using it.
Well, there are photographers like that, and
And
they're
they
like
just
super
obsess.
precise, and I'm the total opposite. And so, for the directory that I founded in 2017, a small business directory, like the professional photographer that I partnered with, so like I know what my strength is. Like I kind of go by my instinct, what I feel like is going to work, right? You know. And he likes technical stuff. Like he likes playing around with
Yeah.
like, you know,
Sometimes those relationships work.
yeah, and it's good. Then you have kind of
Yeah.
this balance and
Some people are I'm super technical. I need to know everything about everything I'm doing, even if it has no. I just so when I'm able to, so when I'm talking to someone, I can know because you ever be talking and you never know someone is going to ask you, especially when I do interviews and PR stuff. I never know what someone is going to ask me, so I like to know about a little bit about everything, so I can at least have a sensible answer, even if I don't know the complete answer.
yeah. And I think like one of the things that's always good, and it actually kind of does go into self-love or the confidence part, is like being confident to say, well, I know this much is true about this topic, but I really don't know the rest of it. And
Right.
let me get back to you on that other
Confidence is
part that I
self-love. Confidence definitely is self-love because what I know for a fact about self-love is I had a business professor one time that said if you're ever at a dinner party and someone asks you a question and you don't know, and the second time they see you and they ask you that same question, if you haven't gone to figure it out by then,
oh,
you deserve to not know. So that's where I kind of developed my like know-it-all theory. So
yeah,
if I'm ever anywhere hearing about anything, if I hear a name, a political documentary, a movie, I'm one of the people like if when I'm watching award shows and they talk about a movie I've never seen, I'll go watch the movie just so I can like let me see what the hell they were talking about, even if it's not in English. I just like to absorb as much information as I can. So if I'm ever asked about something, if I'm ever somewhere and somebody asks me about climate change and I don't know, next time they see me, I can at least say I know. Or what I try to teach my son is if somebody brings something up that you don't know, out of self-love, out of self-confidence, you got to say, no, I never heard of that, but tell me about that.
yeah,
Don't just be
yeah,
like, "Oh, I don't know what you're talking about." Like you gotta have that confidence. But
yeah,
that goes back to what we were talking about before, that security of self,
yeah,
that's what makes people insecure when they feel like they're in a room with people that know more than them. No, if you're in a room that people know more than you, you're in a beautiful room. Go
right,
ask them questions. You're never gonna look stupid for being interested in something you didn't know.
right. And
'Cause everybody loves to talk, especially about something they know. So if you ask me, hey, I never knew about photography. Tell me about it. You're gonna be like, wow, okay. Like everybody loves to talk about stuff they know.
yeah, and I think the really cool part about it is, and people sometimes don't know, is that yeah, you might be in a room of experts, right? And they all might know about X, Y, and Z, but you might know about,
Yep,
you know, LMNOP and they
yep,
don't. And
yep.
so I think
Yep.
sometimes we get into situations as humans and
Get
and
intimidated by
I
other
think it's
people's
like
stuff.
herd mentality. I think there's like an actual psychological term where like whatever the rest of the group is doing, like you start to try to do that and like
Isn't that
kind of
called
start doubting
a
yourself.
herd mentality?
I don't know if herd mentality is the right word, but
Like,
there's,
I probably made that up. That's a theory I just made up.
well, no, there is like a herd mentality, but I was watching this video, and it was like, what do you do? It may be a little off topic from the expert room, but it's like, what do you do if like someone shows you something, right? And you think like they show you a picture and you're like, oh, that's a glass of water. But like everyone else in the room says, no, that is like a glass of soda. And then, so the first time you might say, like, yeah, that's a glass of water, but then you're gonna be like, did I get it wrong? Because everyone else is saying something different. And then typically the second time you go with what everyone else
I'm
says.
actually very intrigued by that topic you just said. I call it groupthink, and it's
Yeah.
a very, very interesting. This over the last 4 years, this political climate of the country has really shined the light on groupthink for me, and
Mm,
it's very interesting. And I've been doing a lot of research and just thinking about groupthink. It's very interesting, not just in opposed to politics, marketing, everything is groupthink.
yeah.
Goes back to what we were talking about at the beginning, product of your environment. Like you just the five people you hang around.
Yeah.
There are some people who, if they hang around people who wear all blue, eventually they're gonna start wearing all blue. It's groupthink, and
Yeah.
sometimes you don't even realize that
You don't know it.
you've synced with someone. So groupthink is a real thing in marketing. It's very interesting the way groupthink works, because
Yeah.
we all have it to some degree.
We did.
Some worse than others.
Yeah.
There's a very interesting thing, how people minds can be swayed opposed to me versus the group.
Yeah. I think maybe in history, right? If we go back, I don't know, to like the beginning of humankind, right? Maybe that's how we survived.
Yeah,
It's
it is.
probably somewhere in our DNA to do that for survival, but
Believe it or not, individuality is just becoming a popular thing.
yeah.
I do believe that social media has a huge part to play in that. We're realizing now that individuality and diversity is what makes us better people. You don't want all the same people.
No.
You don't want all black people. You don't want all white people. You don't want all straight. You don't want all gay. You need a diverse group of people to have a diverse group of ideas
Hmm.
for
Yeah.
love, self-love, community, account. Everything has to work with diversity.
Yeah.
And we're just now figuring that out. Like, you do not want all of it. If you all the if I was in a room of everyone that looked and talked and dressed like me, I do not want to be in that room. I want to be in a room of crazy and diverse people as possible.
Yeah. Especially as a creative, right?
Correct. Correct. Correct.
Yeah.
That is very true. And I love being a creator. I love the many intricate levels of creativity, and it's crazy. Like, creativity, like art, is not something you can explain. So
Right.
I can show you how to dress, how to groom yourself, and you're gonna take it and flip it to your own degree. So I go back to my son. Like, if you like it, I love it. Like, I will never try to teach my son how to be like me. I want my
Right.
son to be a better me. And
Right.
sometimes to get to a better, he gotta do his own thing and dress his own way. My son wears a clip-on tie over t-shirts, and that's
That's
just
cool.
correct. I think it's so cool.
I think
Like,
it's so
it's
fun.
so random. Like, and because he hates ties, so that was his compromise. I said, you know what? That's a look, and I love it because that's his take on dressing up. So when he wears it, he really thinks he's dressed up, and it is what it is. I don't want my son to dress like me. I don't want my son to think, talk anything like me. I want my son to be himself, as
Yeah.
diverse and crazy and as eclectic and wild as whatever his brain does. Because I do believe that eclectic people are very special beings. I've
Yeah.
never met an eclectic person that I didn't feel had self-confidence through the roof.
It's true. It's not easy when you are a little bit different.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to kind of either
You
go with
learn
the
a
rest of the
different
group or
level of
stand on your
self-love.
own. Yeah.
Self-love goes through the roof when you're eclectic, because you have to have a different level of confidence, especially if you're a confident eclectic. It is weird sometimes when you meet a insecure eclectic, like someone is not sure about their differentness. So when you meet someone that's confident and different, you're like, wow, like, this person is incredible. Like, this person is so cool. They just have a beautiful energy.
Yeah.
Self-confident people have a beautiful energy about them.
like inner beauty. It comes inside.
It's glowing.
Yeah.
It's really special. It's like spiritual superheroes or something.
What's your superpower? My confidence.
Correct. Confidence is a superpower.
It is.
It
Because when
really
you're
is.
thinking that you can do it, like,
Yeah.
yeah, you're
So
not.
that's what like we do like stuff like this, and it is on Clubhouse right now. It's probably 400 rooms about people motivating people,
Mhm.
and a lot of times people need to be motivated by confident people because something in their life has caused them to not be confident. And it's
Yeah,
usually something that has nothing to do with them directly. It's always
right.
something indirect, the childhood, maybe a past relationship, and it's probably usually always past relationships because love is crazy as hell. Most people lose their self-confidence through love or a
Yeah,
failed friendship.
it's true.
So people who are like truly motivated and can't get through to people not motivated sometimes is a real disheartening situation because you're like, yo, I'm telling you, you could do this, and they're like, I don't know. You're like, damn, like I believe in you. But if that person doesn't believe in themselves, is nothing you're gonna say that's gonna make them say, I do
Uh,
believe in myself.
you can't. You cannot do
Yeah.
anything.
I could give you all the motivation in the world, but if you don't have that self-love, it's nothing I can do.
It's a choice.
It really
Like,
is a
we
choice.
can either, as humans, stay where we are, or we can choose different.
But it's so hard for some people. And
I know
you ever
it's
look at
hard,
someone
but
that's
that's okay.
you ever look at someone that's trying to break through that barrier of self-doubt and you see it, you see it happening, and then they just shrink back to you like, I see you right there. You right
Right
there. Like or what's dope
there.
is you ever see somebody break through and then blossom, you're like, oh my God. Like that's when I really love like motivating people or just seeing people blossom. When you see them get through something, you see them struggling with something, then they just, oh my God, it's
Yeah,
powerful.
it's amazing.
It makes me happy. Seeing other people conquer something or just seeing other people happy truly makes me happy.
Oh, that's beautiful, Cal. You're
Yeah.
beautiful. I mean, what a great, yeah, I think,
Like all my friends just got really nice homes and apartments. I'm like, it felt like I got a home. I'm like, wow, like it's
yeah.
really exciting when people level up. I really get a joy. It's something I forgot what that's called, but I read it recently. But when you get enjoyment of other people's happiness, and I don't get happiness like oh they finally doing better. I get happiness like oh my God, like it's I can't even explain it, but it really is a happiness seeing other people. Like I like seeing other people dress nice and you know I love when people or seeing people birthday outfits when they look nice is weird.
Yeah, those
Even
are
if I'm not there, because I'm naturally an introvert, is outspoken
really,
as I am. Yeah, I am.
I
So I
didn't,
love when I look on Instagram and I see somebody at a nice event that they plant and it goes really well. I'm like, wow, I'd be worried about people other people events. I'm like, yo, I hope the event go good. It's so crazy, but I truly love seeing other people happy.
yeah, I mean, that I think means that you're secure. That's kind of actually a sign.
Yeah,
But it
I
could be wrong. I'm not happy for my best friend that she or he achieved this versus
no,
like, oh my gosh, she achieved this. He made it. He did
yeah.
it.
You know what it is too? And this may be like really cynical, but it really may be a thing. I truly want other people to be happy because I'm going to be happy regardless, and
Mm,
I don't want my happiness to affect you. So
oh,
if I know you're happy, then I can be happy. Because I'm one of them people, if you're not in a good place, I don't like to share good news with certain people that are not in good places because it seems like I'm gloating. So
well, it's not that you're gloating. I think that's their perception.
no, it may not be something
Sharing
they
your
feel.
good news,
No,
like,
it may not be
hey,
something
I
it may
opened
not
the
be
store today, and
correct. It may not be something they feel at all. I just don't ever want it to get that place because I don't want to ever. And this is the thing. Sometimes you can put other people down by your happiness, and I don't ever want that to be me with anybody that I care or love. So when they do good, I'm like, oh my God, like this is incredible. Like I'm really happy for them because I want them to be happy so I can be happy. Because if people around me are not happy, um, I'm not like depressed or nothing, but if people not around me not happy, I really don't feel good. I just it's just not a good feeling.
it seems that you're very. It sounds like you're like really keen on showing respect to others, and like
I
and
never
letting
thought it could be
others feel
respect.
that they're respected. Like I don't want you to gloat or make it think like I'm gloating.
I don't want to be the only one happy and successful. I don't
Yeah,
ever want to be that person in life. I don't want if if I was to go out and win the Mega Millions, I would share that with a lot of people. Not because I'm buying friends, but because the way I see it is I didn't have the Mega Millions yesterday. So I got it today. Let me share it and let's all level up. I just want everyone to be where I'm at in life. I've always wanted that. And I'll try to put somebody else in a better position before myself.
interesting.
Because I'm always I could be homeless. I'm always gonna be happy. It may be like a psychotic thing. I just have that energy about no matter what, I'm always gonna be happy. I can't think of many things that would take me out of happiness now. And I do feel things and I do feel depression to a degree, but I'm always gonna be happy. So if I make other people around me happy, or if I celebrate their happiness, it really makes me happy celebrating other people's happiness.
Well, you said something about peace, right? Like happiness and peace and love kind of all going together, right? So it's kind of like you're saying you're always going to be happy regardless. It almost is like no matter what, I still have my peace.
Correct.
Yeah,
Um, and you ever sit and think about life, and if you sit and think about life, your head will start hurting. You like, yo, like
yeah,
you
yeah.
gotta
Well,
look at the definition of life. You like, wait, hold on, wait, hold on. Like this has happened there have been a trillion people sitting on that bench, wherever you are, thinking the same thing. Life is really, it comes and goes. If
yeah,
you sit and try to think and figure everything out, you're gonna hurt your head. Now,
yeah.
if you think
I've
like it
been
is,
there.
I live by the statement, it is what it is, right? So if you think about it is what it is in regards to just life, not saying I'm letting bad things happen to me.
Right.
Some things are just gonna happen, regardless of what you do. People are gonna break your heart. Friends are gonna leave. Your family is gonna pass away. Jobs are gonna end. Buildings are gonna fall. Fires. Now, if you allow all of those things to affect how you feel as a person, you're
Mm,
not doing any good for the world. So
right.
the way I see it is the one thing no this world or life can't take away from me is my happiness. I do feel grief when grief is
Right.
supposed to be felt, but
Right.
at my core, I'm always going to be happy because it's like, what else you gonna do?
Right.
Like, regardless of what happens, life goes on, and that's such a cliche saying. But you ever been mad about something 10 years ago and you think about it now and you're like, what? Why the hell was I mad? You like, or let's say you was in a relationship and you got your heart broken. You're like, I'm never gonna get over this. And now today you're like, wait,
Over
you like, who the heck? Who was and you see that person, you be like, oh, okay. Like, so life goes on, man, and it's scary. And but life goes on. So why not just be happy? I always tell people, man, like life is already hard enough. Don't make it any
to make
easier.
it harder.
Like just
Yeah.
the only thing life can't take away from you is happiness. Like it is what it is, and it's hard. Some people it's hard for some people to accept that. But you only got one life. You might as well be happy.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be unhappy then when I'm 70. Like, oh, now I'm happy. No, I'm just be happy. Now, I try to avoid bad things from happening, of
Of
course, like with
course.
health and family and finances. But at the end of the day, it's like it is what it is. Like what the pandemic has taught me is to stop obsessing. And I'm not say I was obsessing, but to stop obsessing about money and finances. And once I did that, it was like I was like, okay, now I'm truly understanding peace. Because any like spiritual people you meet, money is the last thing they talk about. It's probably seldom never talked about. Like, and those people are always very happy. And sometimes those people are very wealthy.
Yeah.
Um, but when we look at wealthy people, we think they care about money. And you meet like spiritually peaceful, happy people who are wealthy, they'll never talk to you about money. They'll talk
Yeah.
to you about the simplest thing in the world. You're like, wow. And they'll tell you I'm only wealthy because I don't care about money. I know a few people, like one of my mentors, that's one of the things he used to say to me. He's only wealthy because he doesn't care about money. And that blew my mind when I was in college. Blew my mind.
It makes sense though if you think about it, because right, if you're like focused on money, it's probably because you're like, I don't have enough, and you're freaking out over it. And then you're, instead of like being able to be free to create and like come up with ideas
Yep.
to like make the
It,
money,
it
or
blocks
like
the mind.
go out and meet people, you're like obsessing or hoarding. And
Yeah. And it is hard not to think those things. It is.
yeah,
But is obsessing about it gonna change? Like, no.
not gonna
So sometimes I have a bad day when I'm thinking about money, like, oh my God, like, and what I've learned is you gotta allow that breakdown. You gotta allow.
mm,
I think a lot of times we try to avoid breakdowns and we try to avoid.
yeah,
Sometimes
repression.
you just gotta just take a day and just, you know what, I'm gonna just binge watch something on Netflix today and just think about this. But if we try to like, I gotta get over this right now, so I could, no, just allow it to happen, and then go harder the next day. So when I have days like that, the next day, oh my God, I'm getting the best calls of my life. It's weird.
Yeah,
But whenever I have a bad day, if I allow myself to be in that moment of accepting the day, or if I have a bad day and I'm out, I just got to go home and go to sleep. I got to reset this whole thing. But if I try to go home and start typing stuff, it just gets worse. Or
yeah,
you ever be like, say if something is breaking, you try to tape it and you really got to take it all apart and just put it back
yeah.
together. That's how I look at bad days. I don't try to tape it and let me just jimmy it up. Nah, take it all apart. Let me start again the next day.
Yeah, but I think that's how, we get in trouble in relationships,
Yes, it is.
because we've spent like so much time trying to tape ourselves back together. And I mean, I know that. I'm like, I've even tried to tape myself together.
We,
And the
it's
book I'm
hard.
writing about is like, well, I should have probably not tried to tape myself together. I should have probably sat on my couch.
Yep.
And if I'd sat on my couch for 1 year, I probably wouldn't have had to sit on my couch for 3 years trying to
Right.
work through like double damage that I did by not taking a time out.
And a lot of
Yeah.
times in relationships, we don't allow the other person to have a timeout. So we just nag them. Hey, like, love me, come over here, look at me. Like, and that person may have needed that day to reset their energy to love you correctly. And
Yeah.
we don't love each other correctly because we only focused on ourselves a lot of time. You like, I only care about my feelings. And that person may be like, but I just lost my job today. Like, I don't care about your job. So it's like, then you start going back and forth, and now the whole relationship is beyond repairable.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
interesting when you got to allow people to have I call it meaningful breakdowns. And
Yeah.
it happens once, twice, allow it to happen once, twice a month. You got to allow it to happen. Now, if you're in a relationship, you got to tell that person, sometimes I have meltdowns and I need alone time. And what we had to know as lovers or a partner is that person's breakdown a lot of times has nothing to do with me personally.
Right.
And a lot of times relationships, we take the person's breakdown personally. Because if I can't make you happy, you don't love me. Like, no, ain't got nothing to do with you. Like, I'm stressed the hell out.
Yeah, but kind of like what you were talking about before anyway, like that happiness comes from you.
It
Like
really
it
does.
has to to ask someone to make us happy.
Is
They're not God.
no,
Like
no one can make
they're
you.
gonna be
That's so
flawed. At
crazy.
some point they're going to make a mistake.
That's so crazy when you think about it. No one can make you happy. We all know this, yet we
Yeah,
all
we
have trouble with
fall into the
relationships.
trap of trying to force something that can't be. Yeah.
And
We're in
nobody can make you happy. Like, you may be happy what that person does for you, but like I was saying, like, so I'm naturally happy when other people are happy. That's a difference between trying to make you happy. Like, be happy, be happy. You like, no, like I just got fired. Like, I'm not gonna be happy. But
Yeah.
we know this. We know, me and you talking know this, but yet in a relationship, it's like all of the sense just goes out of our head, and we don't know none of this.
Yeah. Maybe it's a bad habit,
It
you
really
know?
is. It really
And
is.
so
To some degree, we're all narcissists. To some degree.
we are. Yeah. We all are.
Especially in the social media age. I tell everybody, if you have a social media account, whether you want to be or not, you are a narcissist.
It's all about you.
If
Yeah.
you're not posting pictures of me on your page, you're posting pictures of yourself and you're not posting pictures when you look ugly. You're posting pictures when you think you look good. We are all, to some degree, narcissists.
That's true. But like part of what I did for like part of my healing journey is like I photographed myself, and obviously, yeah, but those are not the ones that I've put on the social media. But
Correct.
like I intentionally photographed myself sometimes, in not the best ways, just because it is about,
Part of your
accepting
process.
yourself even when you're at a bad place.
And that's a part of your process. We all have different processes. Yeah. At least you know that's what it took to get you over that.
Was part of it, yeah. But I think there is, on some level, we all have to give ourselves grace. Like, it's okay to have a bad day.
But society teaches us it's not okay, and that's crazy. It
Yeah.
really, I think that's what we all learned in 2020. Like, it's okay to not be okay sometimes.
Yeah.
And what we need to learn as friends and lovers and partners is it's okay for you not to be okay. And I can't fix your problems. Sometimes I just want to be in grief. I'm not on the ledge. I don't have a gun to my head. I'm just going through it. We don't allow, you ever write something on social media, somebody want to solve your problem? You're like, I'm just venting. I don't need any links to self-help. I'm literally just venting. Now it's nice if let me get out of that venting and then we can visit helping. But if I'm saying, hey guys, I'm having a bad day, don't come with Jesus is on your side. That doesn't help anybody.
I know, and that's like, because I like to help people. That's like my immediate
I know.
reaction. I'm like, how can I encourage this person to make it all better?
It used to be me until I went through a few deaths, and I had to realize that I don't always want to be helped at that moment. I'm not in a space for help. I'm literally in a space of just venting. We have to let people vent. And the problem with social media is that everyone has opinions. So they'd be like, think about the brighter side. Like, I didn't say I wasn't thinking about the brighter side. I didn't say I wasn't happy about all my business being successful, but I am sad about this right now at this moment, at this second. That's why I wrote it. They'd be like, think about your son. Like, we become like self-help gurus. And I used to do it myself. Like, like, don't worry, be happy and all that. But just because I'm grieving today, it doesn't mean I'm not happy. It's just sometimes we go through things. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it's definitely, your approach is way healthier than the average person's approach.
Correct.
I'm so glad we're having this conversation. Maybe someone will watch this and be like, oh yeah, it's okay to like grieve. I don't have to just rush through this and be okay by tomorrow. Because sometimes grieving takes a while.
I have self-proclaimed become like a real advocate for letting people grieve. So sometimes I got to stop myself from typing when I see somebody going through something. I'll keep a mental note and check back on them a few days. And once they back laughing and stuff, I'll be like, yo, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you need me. But when someone is venting, they don't need any of your self-help assessments. They don't need the links. They don't need screenshots of songs to listen to. Like, just like it, just put a thumbs up and keep it moving. Now, you will know, if you know your people, you will know when it's when it's a time to intervene. But for the most part, we should know who we're dealing with, right? And I don't really want your opinion when I'm venting. Give it to me in conversation when we're chilling or something. But for the most part, people don't want, and I learned that personally in the hard way from trying to give it to other people. People just don't want it. Sometimes you just want to vent.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just want to vent. Online, on social media, but it's still just space. Like, I just want to vent.
Yeah.
And that isolates people a lot too, that they feel they can't vent on social media. That's a crazy thing, that it's your social media and you can't vent because somebody gonna think you're on a ledge of somewhere. You're like, no, like, that's crazy. Social media is a gift and a curse.
Yeah, it's got its ups and downs. It's true.
It really does. Because if I put on social media right now and had a bad day, I'm not feeling good, I'm depressed, 400 people will call me and it will make me feel even more crazy. I'm like, God damn, like, just let me be in the moment. Like, and now because of that, I don't want to put nothing, I don't ever want to be on social media. Now because I can't vent nowhere, now it becomes a bigger problem. And that's where you have to learn about self love, and healthy relationships with yourself. A lot of people don't have
Uh,
healthy relationships with themselves.
yeah. Well, hopefully, whoever listens to this will have a healthier,
I
or at
pray.
least like something to think about.
I'm striving for peace,
Yeah.
inner peace, and projecting peace.
Yeah.
But peace is very hard for a lot of people.
It is. I mean, it's very hard. It's something that's also probably something we're not born with,
Correct.
you know?
And we're not taught. Society doesn't teach you how to be at peace.
No.
We only teach you how to deal with grief and depression. But we
Like
don't.
medicating it.
Yeah, but we don't teach you how to reach peace.
Hmm.
And if you truly understand that life is gonna go on whether you are part of it or not, that will help you with your peace. Like we are all small raindrops to like the ocean of life.
It's
And
true.
if you think you're bold and you're gonna make a big splash, that's cool. But if you don't allow yourself to think of life as it's gonna happen whether you're involved or not, you will never have peace. It'll hurt your brain if you try to think about the splash you're gonna make. You just gotta make the splash. Just live your life, and it may happen, it may not. But some people just can't have peace, and it really hurts me when I see someone struggling with peace. That I know is there. You can feel it. It's cause you can feel it like rising up like a thermometer, but it just won't ever burst through, and it just go back down. You're like, oh, it's right there. Like, so I'm just striving for inner peace.
I think it's about like for me because I'm like I was a perfectionist. There is that need to kind of control things a little bit, and so
Well,
then,
yeah.
like that does take out your peace, right? Um, and
Yeah,
I
working with family
learned,
for me helped me with that.
huh?
Working with family for me helped me with that.
The perfectionist control part.
Yeah. So what I mean by that is if I want to stack, let's say I'm stacking boxes my way. Um,
Okay,
if you come, I think perfectionists forget that it's a trillion ways to do one thing.
it's true.
But we want it our way. We be like, no, 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 no. Stack the papers like this. You be like, but whether they be like, but it's easier this way. Be like, but don't worry about if it takes me 8 hours and it takes you 8 seconds, good for you. But if
Mm,
it doesn't bother me that it takes me 8 hours to do something that takes you 8 seconds, why should it bother you? A perfectionist be like, but it's easier this way. It's easier for you.
yeah.
I want to do it this way. I want to do it wrong. You be like, you know what? If you like it, I love it. That's my favorite saying. If you
Yeah.
like it, I love it. When you kind of adopt that into your perfectionist mind, you understand. Now, if it's something where it's time sensitive and we got to hurry up, cool. But if it's not, if that person wants to take 3 hours to do something that you know takes 3 minutes,
Don't
what
worry about that.
what the hell can you? It's like, what can you do?
Mm,
And that's when arguments start. Like, you like, so
yeah.
I'm hands on, but I'm hands off. If I feel you can figure it out on your own, it may take you longer, but if I feel you can figure it out, I'm gonna let you go. Personal and intimate relationship. You know what I'm saying? But I am a perfectionist, but I had to let go because I can't be everywhere doing everything. Nobody in my family we all to some degree have like we adopted this. Like, okay, you got it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, because you're gonna
Yeah.
hurt your head. You're gonna hurt your now I'm micromanaging you. That's
Yeah.
what
That's another thing.
perfectionists do. We stand over people and be like, no, don't do it like that. Like, do you want to do it? No, but you want to watch me do it instead of you doing it. So you just got to trust people.
Yes, trust. And I think that perfectionist has to do with trusting yourself and trusting other people.
Right.
Yeah, it's true. Because I think, yeah, it's just it's being able to release, like just learning. It's like
It's,
a habit. You kind of have to just like retrain and transform your whole thinking process in order to
right.
do it.
Correct. But it is hard.
It's not, yeah, it's not easy to learn something new, a new way of thinking. But yes, so Kels, thank you so much. You've given so many, this has been a fun conversation. You've just given so many
I like to talk.
great
So,
insights. Yeah, it's been really fun. So tell the world how they can connect with you.
well, you can follow me on Instagram at Kellsmania, KELLSMAMANIA, or my website, kelsmania.com, and you can see everything that I do, or all the nonprofit organizations, all of the businesses, articles, media. So yeah, I have a like a homepage for all my links. They can It's the best way to connect with me, and I love it.
Awesome. So everything in one place makes it
Everything in one
easy
place. And I'm
peasy.
trying to tell people about this. So most people have LinkedIn's, but I'm like, make it more personal, get a custom domain. So it's easy to tell people. Everyone will remember kelsmania.com because Kelsmania has been my at name for like 20 years. So
Okay.
everything. So yeah, kelsmania.com is how you find out about every single thing that I'm doing, everything in my life. My son's YouTube page, everything is
Oh,
on
cool.
kelsmania.com. Yes.
Nice. I didn't know about your website. I'm gonna have to check it out right after this.
Everything is there. It's an online resume, is what I tell people.
Okay. Cool.
Yes.
Yeah. So is there, before we end, any last anything that you want to
Um. Man, find inner peace. Strive for self love, whatever that looks like for you, and let go of the small things. It will
Mm.
drive you crazy. Please let go of the small things.
All right, cool. Thank you, Cal.
Yes.
All right. Have a good one.
Yes. Yes. Yes.